I used to work in the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and right now I'm the state counselor for State Counselor's Office. My duty is to do the research, to do the investment, observation, and tell the truth and provide some of the suggestions to the government.
So I understand you're advising the Chinese government on how the public view climate change.
Yes.
What kind of research have you done? Has it been through online polls or asking people in the street? How have you managed to find out what the Chinese people think?
Yeah, and in two levels. One is in general, and to do the research on the publications. And then sometimes I went to the city, to the rural side, to talk people and ask people about feeling of the climatic change.
And what were your results? How do Chinese people feel about climate change?
Yeah. And previously, Chinese people do not realize too much of the climatic change. But this year, there should be a big change. You know that during the springtime, and there's a big fog haze happened in China. This very serious air pollution. This covers more than 10 provinces, about more than 600 million people affected. And with those haze, and people worried a lot. And they feel that with this disaster, with this pollution, and how it can be affected, can affect the health of the people.
So Chinese people are fed up of air pollution, is that right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. This air pollution caused the economic loss and caused some of the more traffic, many of the roads blocked. And people do not feel very happy with this air pollution. After that, we have a serious study and a lot of survey. And people should understand where and why this pollution happened. And after the study, and we got the conclusion that air pollution is mainly because overuse of the fossil energy, and all the economic structure is too much heavily depend on the resources or environment.
Obviously, moving away from fossil fuels will help to reduce air pollution, but it costs money. Are Chinese people willing to accept that they might have to pay for cleaner air?
Yes, and we have also the study on the history of the world. We know that in the 50s, in the last century, the London haze happened. And in the 60s, in the 50s, London, in the 60s, the haze happened in Los Angeles, USA. And those countries used more than 10 years to make it recover. But those Chinese people think that with this kind of situation, we could not wait.
Obviously, the Chinese political system works differently to California, and people can't vote when they're upset with air pollution.
Yeah.
So how can they let the government know how unhappy they are about this situation?
But this situation happened, maybe the government and the people maybe feel the same. That's the environment is the public wealth. And the government should do something, but people itself should also do something. Maybe the companies also should play some role. In this case, the Chinese government and to have the plan to recover the environmental situation. And we'd like use less time to make it recover. And we believe this air pollution mainly due to the energy production, electricity production, use too much fuel for the transportation, also sometimes for the construction. So, and with these three key points, and we want to do something. This is pollution aspect. And then I want to shift to the climatic change. People know, and maybe the scientific community and have a lot of study and tell the truth that the climate is changing. But we should also do something for China. And for example, the Chinese energy consumption increased a lot during the last 30 years. And my example is that in the 80s, last century, and the energy consumption in China per capita is about 1/4 compared with the world. By the year of 2000, and our consumption level reached to a half compared to the world average. And right now, and we are our per capita consumption is over the average. This has a big change, and this overuse of energy and make the economic growth is true, but we just to think our economic growth may be partly based on the cost of environment and also cost on the ecosystem. In this way, we need to change. When we compare the two with pollution and climatic change, that's come from the same source.
Yeah.
That's pollution when we overuse of the fossil energy. It caused the CO2 emission as well as pollutant emission.
China obviously wants to grow, and it's already the biggest carbon emitter in the world, and a lot of people in China want a fridge, they want to start eating meat. But do you think that the people in China might change their growth pattern through because they want to grow in a sustainable way and not to suffer from air pollution? Do you think that could be a real game changer?
That's true. That's why I said this: the dealing with the climatic change, dealing with the air pollution. That's the domestic demand of the Chinese people. We want to change, and we need to do something, and we should have certain functions or actions to move it forward. This is our feeling.
Considering the views of the people of China wanting to cut pollution and reduce climate change, what's your approach to these talks?
And maybe three key measures will adopted. First, to change the energy structure, to change the production structure, and to develop the newly emerged industry to save energy. And also we need to change the consumption level. You know that in Chinese case, about 70% of energy used for production, but 30% for consumption. But that's quite different from the developed countries. And they have developed countries, and 30 for production, 70 for consumption. And with the economic growth, and with the people's capacity is getting more better, the consumption level for energy may be increased. But we should not follow the other countries' model. And we need to try to save energy for the consumption, for the maybe adequate use of energy.
So it's all about industry cutting, but also being more efficient in people's homes.
Yes, and this one. The second one is about to develop the renewable energies. The renewable energy, now China has a big capacity to develop the renewable energies like solar energy, wind energy, and the Chinese government will push forward to make this renewable energy faster. And the third one is adopt the ecological civilization system. And that means to make the resources, environment, and as well as ecosystem as the important part of for the sustainable development.
That sounds wonderful, but things like the Three Gorges Dam have been criticised for being quite ecologically damaging.
There are different opinions, but we need to study carefully.
And how do you think other countries are doing at these talks? Do you think the US is doing enough?
I have not so much study on this, but I know the basic trends in the world. That's to develop the renewable energies. That should be the alternative to replace the fossil energies.